school reopening is going to look different than it has in the past. And whether or not kids return to school buildings, we have to provide the best education to all of our kids.
Since March, Oregon educators have been working from home using distance learning.
We went from full brick and mortar to full online almost overnight.
Despite a whole summer to plan for the fall amid COVID-19 restrictions, school districts' plans are constantly being adjusted as the state keeps updating guidelines.
We continue to evolve and change and learn together.
Early this summer, most districts were planning for a hybrid model of learning, with some classes online and others on campus.
So it really does come down to our facilities and do we have a physical capacity under the guidelines that were issued to us.
But with coronavirus cases surging in Oregon and concern growing from parents, teachers, and school staff,
a lot of teachers are rewriting their wills.
The Oregon Department of Education is now providing for the first time target goals each district, county, and the state must hit to have any in-person classes.
And when there are lots of COVID-19 cases spreading in the community, then the likelihood that the virus will spread at schools also increases.
Case rates in the county must be below or at 10 cases per 100,000 people for the previous 7 days, with less than or equal to 5% positivity rate in that same time frame. The state test positivity rate must also be below or at 5% for the preceding 7 days.
Not all of Oregon looks alike, and there are pockets and communities around the state of Oregon where we have relatively low virus rates.
The requirements for in-person classes for the youngest students, kindergarten through 3rd grade, are a little more relaxed.
With data suggesting that children under 10 get the virus at lower rates, get sick less often, and have less symptoms with COVID-19 than older individuals, and seem less able to transmit the virus than older children and adults.
There's still plenty of time for plans to change, and they certainly could in the next month. Districts are just glad to have a baseline to work off.
We as educators want to be educating kids in our classrooms, and we only want to do that when it's safe for our students, our staff, and our community.
Medford School District Superintendent Brett Champion says which options students will have depends on what happens with COVID.
It's not like we're back to square one, but it's like we're back to square 1.5.
Every local school district wants to open their doors this fall and understands the importance of doing so. Medical professionals agree. They say returning to school is important for students' development and well-being. Remote learning carries unique challenges. That's what the Grants Pass School District discovered this spring.
What we found was the initial engagement for students and families was relatively high, but as time went on and as we got through April and then well into May, folks were getting more and more disengaged.
The logistics of getting students fully back in school are still being worked out and present different challenges for each school district.
It definitely will cost the district more. We have to make a larger investment in Chromebooks for student use. We need to invest in this new learning management system, which it's not cheap. When it's about $550 per student and multiplied by 6,200 students. So those are two big investments.
The reality is we're having to spend some money we hadn't necessarily planned on because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
With big questions still unanswered, school districts have only a few weeks until school returns and a lot to figure out before that first bell rings. In Medford, Devin Gooden, NBC5 News.